Oh my God, was I not recording? Hi strangers, it's Mandy from Lady and Pups. I'm with Foo 52 today and we're gonna make a super fun snack out of potatoes. But they're not potato chips. I'm gonna call it potato sticks because they are super thin and super crunchy. And actually we're gonna make it more than potatoes. Here I have a potato and I have yam and I have a taro. I don't think you guys need to see the peeling process, so I'm gonna jump forward from now. I like, picking out potatoes that is really oval shaped. Why it has to be oval is because I'm gonna cut it right down the middle, right? So two, and by the way, if you have a slicer or mandolin or whatever to do this for you, great, okay? Do that. I don't have it, so I'm gonna do it with hands. So first thing, really important, is that you have to cut slices first and then cut them into thin strips, right? So I want you to cut these potatoes into thin slices. I'm gonna be super anal and measure my first slice so that you know exactly how thick they are. So basically, I am cutting these slices that's about 2 mm to 3 mm, no thicker than 3 mm, which is I think 1/8 of an inch. Now you have all these thin slices. Then all you need to do is stack them together and then cut it into strips that's the same thickness. So here, you see? Oops. I have a bucket of water here, and then I'm just going to drop whatever slices that I have done into those water. The water prevents the potato from turning brown, from oxidizing, but at the same time, it washes away the excess starch. So I'm done with cutting all of these. That's the hardest part of this recipe really, is the cutting. So once they're all in this bucket, give it like a little toss, just to make sure that all the excess starch is left in the water, and then drain them. Now this next step is very crucial, and this is where it kind of departs from the regular French fry procedure, is that we're gonna salt them first, which sounds very weird, but it's really not when you think about it, because we're making crunchy sticks. We're not making French fries. So why is something crunchy after frying? Because they've lost all their moisture. So to help that dehydration process, I'm going to salt these and then let them sweat. My rule of thumb is a heaping 1/4 teaspoon of salt for each potato, okay? And these are like medium-sized potatoes. So I'm going to do like 3 heaping 1/4 teaspoon. You can call that 1/3 of a teaspoon if you want to. And then you're gonna gently toss the salt so that it covers every strand or every sticks. And we're gonna let this sweat for 10 minutes. But do this gently so you don't break these sticks apart. And if there are like things sticking together like that, still attached to each other, just separate them with your hand. Set that aside, and we're gonna make a seasoning for these potato sticks. Obviously, the possibility is endless. You can season these sticks however you like. But today I'm gonna do a cumin chili powder seasoning, which is kind of one of my favorite spice combo, is cumin and chili powder. So I'm going to have 1 teaspoon of ground cumin and 2 teaspoons of ground chili powder. This is optional, okay? But I'm going to add a little bit of chicken powder into the seasoning. Why? Because I want the MSG in the chicken powder, okay? And if you just have MSG, you can use MSG too. And be assured that all of your snacks that comes in a bag has MSG in it, okay? So you're not allergic. So I'm using chicken powder because I like that extra seasoning in the chicken powder, but if you don't have this, you can also use pure MSG. What? What happened? Sorry guys, my camera just fell off, decides to commit suicide for no reason. So I'm just gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of that. And then they are already powders, but I'm still going to kind of mash it in just because I want all of those cumin, chili, and all the flavors to be rubbing against each other, kind of. There, that's it. Okay? And the finer the powder, the spice powder it is, the better it's going to stick on those potato sticks. So you don't want like coarse ground spices. You want like really finely ground spices, okay? And if you want to add garlic powder or onion powder to this, you can do that as well, but instead I'm going to use a fresh crushed clove of garlic. Actually, I forgot something. I'm going to add white pepper to this mix too. How can I forget? I prefer white pepper over black pepper because they taste completely different and they're not interchangeable. So 1/2 teaspoon of white pepper and rub it in. Okay, 10 minutes and your potato sticks or root vegetable sticks are going to be limp or flaccid, okay? And that's a good sign because that means like the moisture is being rendered out of them, or the liquid inside is being rendered out, and you should see like a lot of water actually on the bottom. So very easy. You take a piece of kitchen cloth, you take a big handful or 2 big handful of this, okay? And you just give it a really good shake.
Really?
Yes. So you can see like, you know, almost the water is shaken out, okay? Now just transfer that into your whatever pot that you're using. At this point, you may be asking, what the hell? There is no oil in the pot. And that's because this is another completely weird thing about this recipe is that we're actually going to start with cold oil. Because what did I say? We're not making French fries. We're making crispy, crunchy potato sticks, and dehydration is key. So by starting with a room temperature oil instead of hot oil, the sticks are gonna heat up gradually with the oil, and during that whole process it's going to lose moisture as it goes, and it prevents it from browning before all the moistures depart.
Drawn out.
Same thing.
That's the word we're looking for.
Depart.
Drawn out.
Depart. So how much oil do you use? Basically you want them to cover, okay? And it may look like, okay, there's not enough oil, but actually once the moistures are drawn out, drawn out, these sticks are gonna shrink considerably. I'm gonna say in the beginning, medium to medium high heat. So from 1 to 10, I'm gonna say a 6.5 to a 7, okay? You can take a look, okay? This is just to bring the oil up to temperature, okay? Once it starts to fry, which will be obvious because it will be bubbling everywhere, I'm gonna turn the heat down to medium low. 2 minutes in, it's starting to bubble around the edges. Now, I want you to swirl the pot to make sure that the heat is evenly distributed. So really important, okay? At this point, these sticks are not softened, meaning that you can still move it around with, in my case, a chopstick without breaking them. But once they are softened or once they get cooked, you can't do this anymore, okay? Don't like move them around with like a, an utensil or something, because you're just gonna break them up. 5 minutes in, and at this point, I'm no longer comfortable moving them around with a utensil because I can already smell the aroma of like fried potato. That means they are beginning to be cooked. So I don't want to break them. So right now I'm just gonna keep shaking my pot like this, like every couple minutes or so. So once it's all bubbling all around like that, I'm going to turn my heat down to medium low. Don't expect anything to happen in the first at least 15 minutes. Nothing is gonna happen. They're not gonna look different or brown or anything like that. Nothing's gonna happen. That's basically the entire time. What is happening in here is just losing moisture. That's all, okay? The browning is really going to happen at the last few minutes. We're about 20 minutes in now, and what did I say? It looks exactly the same, okay? Nothing is going to, remarkable is gonna happen in 15 to 20 minutes. Just remember that you give the pot a swirl every couple minutes or so, just to move things around and that the sticks are not sticking too much to the pot. And I would say like 20 minutes is like a crucial point. That's when 20 minutes in, that's when you're going to start to see something kind of happening, because at this point most of the moistures have evaporated, and this is when you can kind of starting to see that the potato sticks are slowly starting to crisp up. 35 minutes in, at this point when you touch them, they are basically like hard or crunchy. They're not soft anymore, okay? So now all we have to do is wait until it takes on a golden brown color. Like you can see, they have lost a significant amount of volume. See? It was like basically taking up the whole pot, and now they're basically just floating on top. So I think this is about the color that I would like them to be. I mean, these yams are darker in color to begin with, and don't expect these taro to become like golden brown. They're gonna kind of look kind of pale, but you can tell that they're crispy just by feeling it, right? So I'm judging from the color of the potato, really. Okay, so now I'm gonna remove them. And then drain them well on these kitchen towel. I'm preparing the bucket that I'm going to toss the potato sticks with my spice. And I'm here going to crush this clove of garlic inside the bucket. I'm just going to remove the skin. And I'm just going to basically leave them crushed like this, okay? But not chopped. I just want the garlic to kind of perfume the steaks. I don't want to actually eat the garlic. They're still warm, but completely crisped up. And I'm gonna remove the paper towel. You can just hear how crispy they are. Put them into the bucket, Okay, so they're already kind of salted, right? Because of the salt that we added in the beginning. So don't be too eager to add more salt at this point. Basically add all the spice in here and then toss it around with a spoon, okay? So that the garlic kind of comes into contact. And the spices are kind of sticking to it. Now, you can taste them and then decide whether you want to add more salt, which I do. Get another toss. Obviously, they're super crunchy. And the whole mixture with like sweet potato and taro makes it more exciting to eat because the taro has a very unique flavor. I don't know how to describe it. And the yam is sweet, and the potatoes, you know, they're potato. They're basically taste like chips. Super crunchy, really satisfying, and really easy to make.